gentlemen, welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 260 for the week of, wait, I don't have the right date up. Hold on, what day is it? It is May 10th, 2016. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
Jim Jokisch.
Oh, Lane Terasaki.
Hello, Lane. We were supposed to have other people. Toby's sick. Bryce has baby problems, whatever. Screw those people. All right, we're going to talk about... They'll be on in like...
I'm surprised you didn't say breeder problems.
Yeah. They'll be on in like a month to talk about Captain America Civil War. But for the meantime, and in the meantime, we're going to talk about the 13th movie in the Marvel Cinematic universe. No other comic book news this week. Sorry, guys. We're going to talk about Civil War. So what do you guys think?
I can't believe the grade you gave it.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Let's start
I
with
liked it. I thought it. I thought it was. I thought it was better than. Nobody else is speaking up. I thought it was better than Winter Soldier. I thought it was really, really good.
Okay.
And I love the. It was definitely better than Age of Ultron, and I thought it would. I thought it was a. I mean, the Captain America movies have been fantastic. Even from number one, I enjoyed number one a lot.
Yeah.
And they just keep on getting better and better and better. And amazingly enough, it's not even Marvel's strongest property. I mean, I love Captain America. Don't get me wrong, but he's not. He's an A-lister, but he's not really one that draws in a big crowd. But the movies are doing fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm really, really enjoyed all aspects of this movie, and I'll get into that more later on.
I should say, by the way, full spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, don't listen to this podcast.
Too late.
We're going to spoil every element of it. Lane,
I'm going to spoil the shit out of this movie.
give me your rough overview.
Rough overview?
Yeah. Nothing specific. Yeah, we'll go over the specifics here in a second.
Start with the. Start with the trolling, I guess. Huh?
No. I mean, just general overview.
Because I'll leave the trolling into Bryce, which is I give it about the same exact score as I gave BVS.
Okay.
So
now, I mean, is this like in all movies are the same scale, or is this like the Marvel Cinematic versus like the DC? Like they're kind of they're judged among themselves, or
no, just movies in general. I mean, I'm not even like if I didn't even consider DC versus Marvel, I still didn't consider Civil War nearly as a whole movie as several of the other Marvel City movies. I still prefer Winter Soldier and Guardians.
You rated it the same as Batman versus Superman?
Well, for me, I put Batman Superman around 80 percentile, around an 80 B- level, and that's what I consider Civil War.
Okay, I thought it did a lot better than Batman versus Superman, but. That's just me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, like you said, I'll have details later.
Okay.
So you liked it, but some problems.
Yes. I mean, action was really good. I like the characters, but there were story problems.
You guys and your problems.
We could deal with some letter grades here in a little bit. Brock.
Yes.
What do you think?
I liked it.
Okay.
It was a very, very good movie to clean your palate of the horror that was BVS.
Okay.
That's how I felt.
Yeah. Overall, I think what I liked it was slow at times, but I think that it did a really good job, a lot more so than Age of Ultron, in giving us multiple characters and giving kind of screen time to the amount of characters that was in the movie. People people got screen time when they needed it, and so on and so forth. Kind of how well balanced Avengers was. It's definitely. I don't think it. To me, it feels more like an Avengers movie versus a Cap movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I agree with you.
So I'm a little I just call it Civil War. Calling it Captain America Civil War just kind of. I don't know. I'm like, it's just Civil War. So, but yeah, no, definitely really enjoyed it. A lot of my coworkers today and some of the students at the high school were like, are you going to go see it? I'm like, I've already seen it. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I'm just that special. And I told them all to go see it.
Yeah, we also have a Thursday night show. So it's kind of our duty.
Yep.
For me, I mean, I definitely liked it. I definitely rank it lower in the Marvel Cinematic Universe scale than some people here at this table. Again, you could love three things, but one thing has to be the worst of those three, right? It's not a bad movie in any way, shape, or form. I did have some problems with it. to me, you have movies that come out of nowhere and completely shock you with how good they are. Winter Soldier being one of them, Guardians of the Galaxy. Ant-Man I probably put on that same scale. That you have...
There's no DC movies in that scale.
I'm talking about the Marvel cinematic movies. That you have little to no expectations of these, just kind of based on... I mean, nothing's come before. You know, there's always potential, but you never know. Especially, I like Captain America, the first movie, but Winter Soldier to me came out of nowhere, and I finally decided that that is actually my favorite of all the Marvel cinematic movies. And so hype was high for Civil War. You know, you try to not let that affect your opinion of the movie, but it's hard not to. I mean, a very similar case of Batman v Superman. You know, very excited going into it, and the first time when I walked out of BVS, I was a little like, the stuff I really like, but I got a lot of problems. This, I don't think, has as many problems as Batman vs. Superman, but the highs aren't as high for me in this. I definitely like it, but it does rank a little lower in my scale. We are recording at Shea Higgins, my wonderful wife, is I think giving me the eyeball behind my back.
No, I believe it was
what the fuck?
She just mouthed the words "what the fuck."
Yeah, she hated Batman vs Superman. By the way,
yes, again, your wife is a very intelligent woman.
I don't hate this movie in any way, shape, or form. I think it has some problems.
There's like one thing I hate about this movie.
What's that?
There's one thing I absolutely hated about Civil War.
What's that?
Was the size of the fucking font telling us what location we were at.
All right. Yes. I'll give you that.
That was annoying as shit.
On the third time, I leaned over to my daughter and went, all right, this is getting aggravating. And why couldn't it just be little bitty? Because overseas when they're gonna put in the they're gonna put in the little bitty subtitles, right?
Yeah.
Well, and it'd be completely overblown.
And like Winter Soldier, we're used to seeing like longitude, latitude. Like they put that up in certain locations and stuff like that. Like it was like whatever sea they were in, and they did the.
You're used to the little text in the bottom.
No, this was like in your face, like the whole goddamn London.
Yeah, it was
I
weird.
get it. I'm in London,
Berlin,
it was a little weird.
Dubai. You're
Moscow.
Like, okay, fuck. I mean. What, Disney couldn't pay to send Crew 2 to go fucking shoot a landmark?
Well, then they always say the same thing, too. Like, oh, we're in Berlin. And it's like, well, then don't show the title.
Well, let's get into the plot here a little bit, because we have the ramifications from Age of Ultron, from Winter Soldier, from the first Avengers movie. And then the start of this movie... where Crossbones and his gang. Crossbones is the guy, if you remember Winter Soldier, he was the guy that Cap fought in the elevator. And
Brock,
kind of one of the
Romulo. Brock.
Yes. One of his,
I don't know, bad guys in Marvel have my name. What?
So it starts with them, and they're in, I'm blanking on what country they're in.
Nigeria.
Yeah.
And they're fighting Crossbones, and much like in the original Civil War comic, a bomb goes off. And the villain, he kills. Crossbones dies, and also I should point out, they kill like 20 people in the first scene of that movie. Yep. Not just from the bomb going off, but like they straight up shoot and kill people. So, hey, there's 20 more add to your list of characters the Avengers have just straight up murdered in these movies. if you're keeping track,
all right, their body count isn't even near Superman. So let's keep on going.
But what I'm saying is, these are heroes that kill. Make no doubt about it. Black Widow and Falcon just straight up shoot people and kill people in this movie. Yep. So, have fun with that, internet. You can't deny constantly. This is the reality of the Marvel movies.
I love Falcon's morphing wings and his missiles that shoot up and come back down.
Cyber Redbird.
Yeah. Go ahead, pet him. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's cute.
I'm not petting it.
It's cute.
So, big explosion goes off. They kill a group of Wakandans who were there visiting, which causes... so in the comics, you get the Superhuman Registration Act. In this, we have the...
Sokovia
Accord.
Soviet Accords, yeah.
And that's sort of like, we now have to hold the Avengers responsible.
Avengers can no longer be private. They have to be run by a world organization.
Yeah, the UN. And this starts, Cap and Iron Man down a similar battle from the comics, where Cap says, well, they will abuse that power, and Iron Man says, yeah, but we have to be held responsible for this. Now, what's funny is, in the comics, with everything that's happened, the fact that they try to do this at this point, and that it's the United States government that wants to control the American superheroes, I'm totally on Cap's side. But within the context of this movie, Iron Man's totally right. Like, and it's weird that you're supposed to, I think, take Cap's side in this.
Okay, so this...
But...
Go ahead, keep on.
Oh, I'm just saying, but I don't. I think Cap's dead wrong. To a point.
This story is actually a mix of the Civil War storyline, and there was a point in time where the government was
US,
actually... The
U.S. agent?
Well, not just U.S. agent. Henry Peter Gyrick was overseeing the Avengers as they were government sanctioned for a little while. I mean, that's why they kicked out Mark Spector, Moon Knight, because he had alternate identities and stuff like that, and he had been a mercenary before. So this is a mix of two different storylines, but as much as I want to be on Tony's side, I have to be on Cap's side. I have to, because you give up, you have... You're trying to justify. You're trying to put a net over the damage and do damage control right then. But this is a little bit of overkill, giving up your freedoms. This speaks a lot to what's going on these days as well. So,
well, here's the thing: in Civil War, the comic, hundreds of millions of people have been killed in these battles. So a couple of random more people getting killed, clearly just by the villain. It's like, I don't buy the justification for this to change in the comics. Whereas in the movie, Scarlet Witch is directly responsible. I mean, obviously the villain's blowing it up, but Scarlet Witch makes an error that causes the bomb to go off to kill those people.
I disagree with that.
Hold on. And there's been so few superhuman fights that this makes sense at this point. Where in the comics, it's like, where the fuck were you 40 years ago, right, with this? Like, and that's where the disconnect in the comics come, but I understand Tony's perspective in this.
If Wanda had not intervened when she did, people were going to die on the ground.
On the ground, of course.
Including Captain America and Wanda, okay?
Well, that would have been more...
Okay, that would have been more...
That would have been more people died.
A higher body count.
Yeah.
Well, Cap... he paused for a second, right? So
when Crossbones mentioned Bucky,
so he kind of started the situation, and Wanda tried to do the best she could to salvage it, but it was too little, too late. So trust me, I'm not saying that Cap is completely wrong in this situation, but I have a world organization run by the UN after a number of situations. To me, makes a hell of a lot more sense, and I understand Iron Man's justification, as opposed to hundreds of millions of people have died over 40 years of Marvel continuity, and a couple kids died in some random town. Like, why would they change this? Like, that's the thing that it's hard for me to take Marvel continuity into consideration.
Let's go with the Secretary of State. I mean, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
Okay. He has always wanted to control superhumans,
right?
Metahumans,
right?
All right.
But it's But
enhanced.
It's the difference. It's the difference between the U.S. government or the U.S. military versus the UN, and that's where again it makes sense.
But it puts him in control. They're saying it's UN sanctioned, but somebody's going to be pulling the strings.
Of course.
Okay.
And like I said, I understand I understand Cap, but it's not Cap fighting against the U.S. government. It's Cap fighting against the world, and I kind of, I mean, we'll move into the plot here, but some of this stuff doesn't click with me and Lane. I think you're kind of on my side here with some of this stuff, because we talked before the podcast.
Not on this one.
Other stuff. Other stuff. But let's move on. So Cap, Scarlet Witch, number of other characters, they say, hey, no, we're not gonna sign these, right?
Yeah.
So the son of T'Chaka, the king of Wakanda, comes to the Accords to help sign this over, because it was his people that were killed. So there's another bomb goes off outside, killing a ton more people, including the king. Mm-hmm. So his son T'Challa, who we all know as Black Panther, it now steps up, and you find out that the person that sets off this bomb is the Winter Soldier. So now we have Captain America, who knows the Winter Soldier has been controlled and abused, and he's been tracking him down and trying to find him, versus the Wakandan government versus they were in Germany, right? I believe. Was it?
Yeah.
It was in Germany.
Yeah.
Against the German police forces. So now you have Captain America and Winter Soldier trying to outrun multiple federal agencies and kingdoms to try to figure out exactly what's going on. And Tony Stark and Vision and who else is kind of on their side? Before they start recruiting people, what's kind of the breakdown? It's Tony,
War Machine,
Vision,
and
Black Widow.
Black Widow,
and Black Widow versus Cap. Bucky, Scarlet Witch,
Falcon.
Yeah, so that's sort of the initial.
Yeah. You also forgot the part in the beginning with the VR. The Tony Stark was at MIT.
Oh yeah,
to show the flash. I mean, it's for the flashback, but then there was the woman that started it all with the son that was killed in Sokovia.
Right.
You mean Amanda Waller?
That's what starts.
It looked like her, did it?
It is Amanda Waller. It is the actress.
Yeah,
it is the actress.
Yeah, so Tony's already on this path of we need to make these changes because of all the events that have happened. Specifically, he gets confronted by a woman whose son died. But yeah, there's more to it than this. And we also get flashbacks at this point about Tony Stark's his parents getting killed and how he wants to kind of like. I mean, they never really go back to that, but about him like you could like relive memories.
He does a VR situation where he's reliving a memory, but he relives it how he wants to have it, so it's not as a traumatic memory. And that I spent what $630 billion on this.
Yeah,
and it's a pair of glasses that simulates something.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't really have anything to do with the plot, but it brings up the death of his parents because that comes into play later. So now we have Black Panther has entered the situation. And we're slowly getting the backstory of a character who the comic fans know as Baron Zemo II, Helmut Zemo. Yep. Helmut. I don't know how you actually...
Helmet.
I mean, Helmet, but it's not... I don't
Helmut.
Yeah. Who is a longtime Captain America villain, and, like... They want murder. Basically, I mean, they're like offshoots of the Nazis. They want to murder, cleanse the world of the impure races and all this stuff. And Helmut Zero, I mean, he's a badass and works with the Thunderbolts in the more modern comics. So this goes kind of into a problem I have with the movie. This isn't Helmut Zero. That's the problem. This is a random guy who was part of the Sokovia Special Forces, who manages in the background to get all these classified, unhackable Hydra documents, declassify them, figure out what's going on, track down all these ex-Hydra agents that worked with the Winter Soldier, and somehow he's also a master of disguise, gets into the deepest depths of the UN, and when they finally capture Winter Soldier, has the ability to causes people to completely Leanne's passing notes to shut down all the power to then activate the Winter Soldier. All right, so.
We got a correction.
Yes, according to Leanne, off mic here, I gotta have a correction here. I get my earpiece. Says it is not Amanda Waller. It is not Viola Davis. It is a woman who looks just like her, Alfre Woodard. You were all racists. So that's what Leanne said. You were all racists.
If you take out a bunch of the letters, you could probably spell "you are racist" on this note.
You are racist. Thank you, Leanne.
I'm not thanking you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was her, but you guys were like so convinced. I'm like, was it her?
No, I'm joking.
So we now have Helmut Zemo. Sorry, did I say zero? Zemo controlling the Winter Soldier. And
he doesn't control him. He activates.
He activates him
or reactivates him.
Right. After they've been trying to, But to what end at this point? At this point in the movie, we have no idea why any of this is going on. Right. So let's move on a little bit. Someone jump in here.
The thing is I know you had an issue with him, but it's a line he says when he's trying to get, or when he gets the ledger, the star ledger from the Hydra agent, and he has the guy suspended upside down in the water.
It's the code on how to.
Yeah. What it is he says something along the lines of, if you have patience and like time or something drive, you can learn anything, right? Because that's the thing is like by the end of the movie, we know exactly what his backstory is. We know why he was driven to do what he does. And the thing is it's the little nuggets that they drop along the way. They don't slam it all down at one time.
100% fine with the motivation. 100% not fine with with his ability to pull off what he pulls off. That's my complaint. Because it's something like Ultron. Ultron I didn't love him, but sure, he's a fucking super robot that could take over the world, right? Loki, I understand. Purple Man and Jessica Jones, totally understand, right? Hell, most of these villains within the movie, even if you think they're a little weak, I can see them accomplishing the things they're accomplishing. Zemo from the comics, I can see him accomplishing what happens in this movie. This guy is not Zemo. This is just a random dude. It's not, and that's like, I don't see how he's able to pull this off. Because I had no real problem when I was watching the movie. It was after, and thinking about it today for a while, I'm like, yeah, what? Like, I know Zemo, so I'm like, yeah, Zemo, cool. He's like all fucking manipulative and rich and like one of the most powerful people in the world and has all this money and wealth and organization. This guy is just a dude. So like, I don't see.
You want Zemo to be more like Lex Luthor.
What?
And honestly, Zemo should be more like Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But look, in the context of the movie, okay,
I understand
they had to work with what they had with. How can they introduce unless they bring him in?
He could be like Ex Hydra. Like he could be him and.
I thought he was Ex Hydra.
I thought he was too, but he's not.
But he's not. Yeah.
I thought him and it could be like, oh, my grandfather, my father was part of the original.
Especially when he started talking about regimes change, falling, but he's not. Yeah,
and that's why I was like, but this isn't Zemo. This is just some random dude. Like I don't, and I have decided. I put this on the Facebook group. I mentioned this on Twitter. I'm done talking about Batman v Superman. I'm just done. I'm done talking about Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. That said, other people at the table are more than welcome to talk about it and make comparisons to this movie because, good Lord, there are so many comparisons to Batman v Superman in this movie. And I don't agree that this does it right and Batman v Superman does it wrong. They both have their flaws. But it is baffling to me that this is a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes and Batman v Superman's a 27%. Like they are so close in so many aspects.
The thing is, you get 10% for each character that shows up.
There you go.
The thing is at the end of the day, the characters that we saw in Civil War and how the story progressed. Yes, it was slow. I mean, I did get feelings while I was watching it of, man, this is a little long, right? This is going somewhere. But the payoffs for the information that we were getting and the payoffs that we had at the individual, the little individual action sequences that were going on, like here and there, like it kept you going. It was building.
Oh, it definitely had the kind of
the momentum,
start and stop. But then when it got going,
the Russos even said, the slow spots are a version of. You got to take your medicine. You got to take the good with the bad. Mm-hmm. You had to learn this information.
Sure, of course.
That's part of it. I mean, yes, they did have a couple slow spots. I'm glad. I wanted that information. Mm-hmm. I wanted that nugget.
Because the information that you got in that was worth it for moving the movie forward. Yeah. The reason why we're getting so many comparisons to BVS is because one, they came out one after another.
Yeah.
It's a heroes versus heroes movie.
Right.
So, and the thing is with this movie, it felt more like it was like a roller coaster. You would go up, and then you would come down, and up. But it was this kind of smooth going. Where BVS was more of like you go up a little and come back, and it was more jarring pacing wise in BVS versus this movie.
I think the action. I agree. This is a better paced movie. I think the action on a whole works better. We have some questions about some of it at the end. We'll get to it at the end, but let's move on here. So we have Helmut Zemo, who is.
We're just going to start referring to him as
Zemo.
Just refer to him as HZ.
So his deal, and again, we kind of find this out at the end of the movie, but this kind of sets up what happens with the rest of the movie. His deal is, I can't stop these guys, I can't kill these guys, but if I can have them destroy themselves, I can be victorious. And the weird thing is, he totally wins. I mean, The Avengers straight up lose this movie. This is if you think BVS was depressing, I mean, this is 1,000 times worse. Like, this is as grim and dark as any of these movies have been.
I mean, no, the movie ends on a really low note, but there's hope at the end of the movie.
He's no longer Captain America. I mean, he's either going to be U.S. agent or the captain or whatever. Like,
I was waiting. I was
the black costume.
I went for the black costume at the end.
Well, you kind of got a little of it. You kind of got a little of it when he was at the raft, freeing everybody.
Yeah.
He had that like blackish kind of coat on that had kind of the straight lines to it.
So we have half the Avengers don't want to sign the Accord. Half have already signed.
Half of them are intelligent and half of them aren't. Yes, that's what we're agreeing to.
Yeah, and so I don't know what
you said. Out of that.
I don't know what side is. I don't know what side is what in that argument. But
well, that's why I said it that way, because I was like, let's see where he goes.
But so now we get the fight, right?
First fight.
Well, the big fight.
We're going to go with the start with the big fight.
Oh, I'm sorry. We do have the Black Panther thing. Let's actually cover Black Panther first, because he's the first thing that shows up. So,
right, first of all, Black Panther is fucking awesome in this movie.
He's pretty
for him to show up in this movie and be portrayed this way with the costume, with a vibranium costume and everything. Oh my god, it's just fantastic.
He's very good. I have a couple questions, but we'll get to that in a second. Black Panther now fully in charge. He's the king of Wakanda. And he's going to fucking kill Winter Soldier.
Yep.
So Cap, Bucky try to escape. They try to escape this bombing. And Black Panther out of nowhere. I mean, we're not even introduced to Black Panther. They never call him by name. We don't have any idea who this guy is. I mean, we know who he is. We know he's T'Challa. But Black Panther shows up, and they just start going and fight. Now, here is where I had one of my biggest first complaints. And I know Leanne will agree with me on this, because she's actually the one thing we agree on. Did anyone else think the CGI in this scene was extremely shitty during the fight scene
tunnel
where they're in the tunnel?
Tunnel, yes.
Okay, Jim's looking at me like, what?
No. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the running?
The running.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Look, I seen this running before. They use the same running in Underworld. Okay, when the Lycans were running after the car and stuff like that. All right, they're running on a freaking. I'm
not going to care if Underworld looks like that.
No.
I care if Civil War does.
My point is, I was like, I was with you on this. Okay, I agree with you on this. All right.
So this starts in Age of Ultron. I had never complained about any of the special effects in any of the Marvel movies. In Age of Ultron, I was like, there is some kind of like the whole opening fight scene of Age of Ultron looks terrible, and there's
because it was just made for 3D.
It was real bad, and there's some okay, obviously these things look amazing, but for a $250 million movie where at this point they should be experts, like Ant-Man shouldn't look better than this.
They're running like they're on roller skates.
It is. Yeah. It's real
It's like they're on roller skates or one of those things at the airport where
like the people movers, right?
Yeah, moving. Yeah.
They're on the people movers.
Yeah. So this is where, and we can all talk about this big fight scene here, but my one question is this. So I've read a lot of Black Panther comics. Black Panther has like magical powers, right? But a little bit, right? Like a little healing, right? But as far as I know, Black Panther doesn't have any sort of extreme super strength. Nope. Or super speed.
Nope.
Do we think the costume in the movie is what's giving him these powers? Because he's running like 70 miles an hour, and he's like lifting cars and jumping around like fucking Spider-Man, which we'll get to in a few minutes. It kind of took me, again, I don't care when the characters are different. It just caught me off guard because I was expecting Black Panther to be very down to earth. I mean, you have the magic stuff, but it's not really his power. I mean...
I don't foresee the suit being like an Iron Man suit. It's just, from what I understood, it's just a vibranium mesh, except for the claws. Yeah. And the claws are like a pure vibranium that can destroy almost any metal, which is why
he's scraping Cap's shield.
Which is why he was able to scrape Cap's shield.
Great scene too.
And tear apart, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, he doesn't have.
Yeah, I don't.
The super strength he doesn't have. He's a world class athlete. I mean, Olympic level.
Yeah. He's better than Daredevil, not quite as good as Cap, but he runs like 100 miles an hour in this movie and is jumping all over the place.
Well, it's because he's on a people mover.
Yeah. Apparently they have this. So again, that was
even Iron Man had roller skates in his Iron Man.
And in the big fight scene, there is a the shots where you kind of get that X-Men where they're all running at each other, but there was some like kind of like low grade CG going on there. Like it needed a couple more passes. Black Panther jumping around, like it looked like I was in Batman v Superman. There was one or two scenes where I was like, yeah, there's like a cartoon Batman jumping on a cartoon Superman, but I didn't. In no other recent movies have I seen this. But Age of Ultron was the first, and now this one.
Do you remember the second Blade movie?
But that's
No.
The movie was made for like $9.
Like, that CGI was bad too.
Yes.
Okay,
sure,
just like
that was
that.
20 years ago. Like
My point is, okay, it was as bad as that.
there shouldn't be bad CG in these movies.
No, there should not be, but there was. There was.
Well,
bad
and I
CGI.
think that a difficult part, especially with a chase scene like this that we have, is we just had Deadpool, where they had that huge chase scene on the freeway, which is kind of like this, going in one direction.
And it was made for like a fifth of the cost.
And it was made a fifth of the cost. And yes, you knew it was CG, but it still looked phenomenal.
Colossus didn't bother me at all. He was all CG, but I never. It didn't bother me within the context of the movie. It didn't bother me at all.
I think what you're trying to say is that the level of CG, and maybe this is because
It should be top-notch.
I think this is maybe because the cinematography in the Cap movies has gone to kind of more espionage type movies.
And it was, there was so little of it comparatively in Winter Soldier.
And the thing is now that you're bringing Scarlet Witch, Vision, Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Black Panther, like all of these characters that require more CG, it looks weird in an espionage movie because an espionage movie looks real.
I disagree. Yeah. They know better. They know they should have seen this and they should have fixed it.
Yeah.
Do you think they just ran out of time?
This wasn't consistent from
scene to scene.
Well, the thing is, it's most likely different companies.
Yes.
So that's the thing is they probably didn't have time to have one company go over and review all of it and kind of make it all look nice.
With the exception of one part of the big fight scene, which was, again, Black Panther, where he looked real bad. There's a part where he's jumping around like Spider-Man, and I was like, it looks really bad. Again, the majority of the CG in most of these other scenes was top-notch, exactly what I expected it to be. I think this is the thing. Having just seen Jungle Book, which was entirely CG, like, they never left a green screen in that entire thing. It's like Star Wars, right? There's no real stuff in that. Even like the
But
grass.
it looks 100 times better.
But it looks amazing.
Star Wars, right?
It looks perfect.
It doesn't look fake.
When I say Star Wars, I mean like episode 1,
yeah.
right? It looks. We were watching. Me and Leanne were watching it. We're like, well, they had to have filmed this like outside in the desert somewhere. No, entirely inside. It's mind blowing how good the CG is in Jungle Book. Where like, how do you not? This is like the biggest like hashtag like first world problem here, but like how is the CG in this
it's
missed
kind
the
of
mark
it's kind of similar to how the CG was in the Age of Ultron when they were chasing the van.
Well, same deal. I think there was shoddy CG in that movie too.
Yeah, and I think that's,
I hope Marvel's not cheaping out. I hope Disney's not cheaping out because they're already so expensive with so many characters.
Yeah,
maybe they're cheaping out on the special effects.
I was just going to say that maybe because there was so many characters in this, maybe they blew the budget on the freaking actors.
They just didn't have another 3 months.
Really,
all right.
With the amount of money,
conspiracy is going to complain about this, but we're going to go with this one. Okay,
really, with the amount of money that they made off of Force Awakens, they can't go. Oh, let's just give it a little bit more. We're going to make more money off of this and then off of another movie. And then if Doctor Strange bombs, who cares? Rogue One's going to make us a shit ton more.
So let's go. So
let's move on.
We're at the fight. So
let's move on. So at this point, the sides are chosen. All right, the Avengers, Cap and Bucky are trying to get out. They're trying to. Where are they actually? They know where they're trying to go.
They're trying to go to Moscow.
There's this.
No, Siberia.
Siberia.
Okay.
Yeah, they discover that the end goal here is that there are 5 more Buckys out there. Basically, there are 5 more Winter Soldiers. As part of this experiment that was done, that he was a part of, and so they know that Zemo's going to get them, and he's going to unleash 5 more Winter Soldiers on the Earth. That's what they believe to be the end game here. So they're trying to go to Moscow or Siberia. They're trying to go to Siberia. The rest of the Avengers step in, and they're like, nope. They evacuate the good use of clearing out civilians for casualties. They evacuate the airport. And now we get the big fight scene. Oh, first of all, we do have to say they actually bring in some extra support too.
Well, they have to. They got to recruit for this. Big fight.
Yeah.
So.
They call in.
Which side do you want to talk about first?
We can't forget
which recruit do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about Cap's side. So Cap calls Hawkeye because, of course, Hawkeye, he retired, but he's come out of retirement to help them. And Falcon's got a buddy that he knows that's pretty good at some
I know a guy.
sneaky stuff. So he calls in Ant-Man. We'll talk about Ant-Man in a few minutes. So there's not really too much going on that side. They're able to break Scarlet Witch out of...
No.
Scarlet Witch messed up the Vision.
Scarlet,
How many floors did she put him through?
like the center of the earth. Vision.
That reminds me of the Wolverine in the X-Men comic book pushing Leland. What was it the guy with the gravity with the mask,
like through the floor and into
pushing him through the floor into the sewer, right?
So
I thought that was great. I thought it was fantastic.
So Hawkeye goes to rescue Scarlet Witch, and Scarlet Witch ends up rescuing Hawkeye. In Vision, as you know, he's being sent. He was at the mansion not the mansion, their new compound to guard Scarlet Witch and not let her out into the world because the world hates her because she's responsible for the death of all these people. Man, Vision is so good. Vision is so good,
but not in a sweater.
Oh, he's so good in a sweater.
He looks awesome in a sweater. What are you talking about?
He looks so good in a sweater. He's like in that like sweater and like slacks, and he's so good.
Trying,
you know what it is?
He's trying so hard, and I give him props for that.
In a deleted scene, we would have seen Vision's room, and he would have had that.
It's like Data, like from Next Generation.
Exactly,
with the cat.
like it.
It would have been. It would have been. He got the box where they send you with the nice clothes in the box every month, right? It's just sitting there, and he opens it.
I like it when he sits there and he's making her food. He's like, I don't know anything about.
I don't know
flavor.
how to make food. Yeah.
I've never tasted anything.
I don't have taste buds.
I don't hate Age of Ultron, but its high point absolutely was Vision for me in Age of Ultron, and he shines so good in the scene. And again, obviously you can write however you want, but when people say, what did Green Arrow and Hawkeye bring to the table? I mean, it's not about direct confrontation. It's about sneaking around. It's about distraction.
Yeah.
And he does a really good job against Vision for a few minutes. He doesn't finish the job quite, but fortunately Scarlet Witch does.
It's Hawkeye versus the Vision. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Now the other side.
Now Team Iron.
Team Iron Man.
Okay. All right. Aunt May's hot in this movie.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. I'm like, I don't remember her looking that good as My Cousin Vinny. I mean, it's like, wow.
So
are you saying you're having dreams about Aunt May now?
I'm not. I'm just saying.
So they acknowledge that since the Avengers have been formed, a number of superheroes superpower beings have popped up, enhanced, both good and bad, and Tony Stark has had his eye on someone in particular, and he goes and finds Peter Parker, who we all know is the Amazing Spider-Man. Now,
still in high school.
What's your take on this? Let's start with Lane, because Black Panther's big, but Spider-Man's going to be the thing that's like we're getting like 9 Spider-Man movies in the next like 4 years. So this is it. Lane, let's start with you. What do you think?
In terms of what? Like,
what do you think of him? Just period.
The actor was fine. I thought everything with Spider-Man I thought was fine. Although that scene with him and Tony was a little long. That dragged a little bit.
I agree.
That's fine.
I agree.
But to me, he didn't need to be in the film at all. That was my big thing.
We'll keep going, but they could have cut him out completely, and it wouldn't have changed a single
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
Like the only thing he added was he made the teams more even, and that kind of felt a little awkward.
I mean, he was there because they're gonna make a Spider-Man movie next year, so they had to introduce him before the movie came out, right? Yeah,
but they had to reintroduce his origin, or at least introduce him again. So that wasted another 10, 15 minutes in the film, which we already had, T'Challa and all these other characters. It's like, if they had cut that out, the film could have been condensed a little more and made more sense in other parts.
Well, again, they're trying to track down Winter Soldier and all this stuff. And he's like, I'm just going to go to Queens and hang out with some hot lady and like talk to this kid and then build this suit. Like it does. It's a weird slowdown in the movie.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, I'm not even sure. I don't think they ever had any evidence that Tony knew. I don't understand how Tony knows it's Peter.
I mean, they
only showed video that he was in Spider-Man costume.
Yeah, they never
that's something that they don't explain. But it's not necessarily something that a mass movie audience needs to have explained.
No, but
I mean, Tony can figure it out.
Tony
It's
can figure it
whatever.
out. And that's the thing is, I think that's what... I mean, he's already making him nervous. He's already doing that stuff. You know, Tony's the type of person that you can interrogate somebody and see what's going on. And then, you know, he just goes and finds the costume and you know, it's a done deal. But, yeah, Jim, you were next. So
You know what? If anybody's going to know, much like Lex Luthor,
Yeah.
Tony's going to know.
Sure. I don't. It doesn't bother
the
me too
ability
much.
to tap into any freaking video, anything, all right, to figure it out. And with all the technology that's available right now, how does he not know?
Yeah.
All right. So if anybody's going to know, Tony's going to know. Did it go a little long? Yes. Was Spider-Man good in the movie? I enjoyed it. I like the comedy relief. I like, hey, you need to stop talking and start fighting. You know, I like that. I liked. I did like Spider-Man showing up. I don't think Tony needed to. I don't think he would have needed Tony to upgrade his suit, but I enjoyed Spider-Man in the movie. I did, and to bring in the kid, and he's a kid.
Yeah,
to bring in,
he's like 15 years old.
yeah. To bring in a kid that young who's worried about doing his homework, and me having kids around the same age, I can relate to that kid and see how he goes. You know, nailed my test. He goes, we need to go to Germany. I got homework.
Yeah.
I got stuff I got to do. You know, there's going to be teen angst and stuff going on with him. So they picked a good kid for Spider-Man. They got some longevity with him. Mm-hmm. I did like the cracks of the. You ever seen that old movie, The Empire Strikes Back, with the Iron Walker and thingies and oh God, yeah. So. Yeah, like Tony didn't have a chance to vet him before he got out there. But I like Spider-Man. I thought was he really needed in the movie? No. Did we enjoy the comedy relief? Oh, hell yeah. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. Go ahead, Brock.
I think for me, this is the best Spider-Man we've seen on film. Like
That's common opinion. Common opinion.
I
I've
mean,
heard that a lot.
His part didn't need to be in the movie. But his part not being in the movie, there would have been a lot of scenes that weren't as good, and there would have been a lot of scenes that weren't as, you know, funny, or a lot of scenes that weren't as holy crap, look what they're showing us going on, because we'll get to Ant-Man. But you know, the scene with Tony was a little long, but I didn't necessarily. I think what was weird about it it wasn't weird for me that it was a little long, because Tony's always had those scenes in the movie that just go a little bit long. There's like always one scene in every movie he's in that it seems like it goes a little long, right? Or it's just like, why are we doing this? Like in Iron Man, was it Iron Man 3 where he's in the diner? No, that was Iron Man 2.
Well, it's just
You're right.
scenes
Like there's scenes that seem like that.
It seems that Tony being Tony, but this isn't the Avengers Civil War or Iron Man Civil War. This is Captain America Civil War. And there's a huge chunk of this movie that Captain America is not even in and has no direct reference to him.
Which is why I have a kind of an issue with them calling it Captain America Civil War.
Yeah. I think they just wanted to get to it and not have Avengers 2.5, right? I mean, this is the way to do it.
But overall, this is the best Spider-Man we've seen. I'm excited to see a solo movie. I could forgive he had a suit ready for him and all that stuff.
Sure.
I mean, it's Tony. The guy has how many Iron Man suits?
Yeah.
He sees some guy swinging around as Spider-Man. He's going to try and make a suit.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, hell, at some point he's probably going to give him an armor suit.
Yeah.
Iron Spider.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I really enjoy this kid, and I'm looking forward to actually seeing a Spider-Man movie now.
So for me, I go a little counter to most people. I actually have no interest in teenage Spider-Man. I have no interest in teenage Peter Parker. I don't even be like 40, but...
That's weird because you are into like the teenage comics.
I am, but I was never... I mean, Peter Parker... Here's the thing. The new Teen Titans, the new Warriors, these characters are young for a very long time. Peter Parker was out of college like 8 years into the run of Spider-Man. I mean, he was an adult very fast in Spider-Man. The thing about real life is that this kid's going to be 21 by a second movie. So you have the ability to get him in college very quickly, but I don't need... Okay, let me rephrase this. I don't hate him being young. I like every I like Peter Parker plenty, but I don't need him to be a kid. That said, this kid's good, very funny, very quippy.
He's not going to be a kid long.
Well, and that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Real life doesn't work like comic books. He's going to be 21 by the time the second movie's out.
Yep.
So they're going to
And here comes another note from
they're going to very
Leanne.
quickly get him in to the more adult stuff. You could just come on. He is not 20 years old.
That's what IMDb says.
Tom Holland is 20 years old.
Yeah.
He looks like he's like 12.
Born in 96.
That's fine. I mean, there's a lot of actors that are
Jesus.
cast that are
He
older
said he
than
was-
they are.
he-
He was born like 1 year before we graduated high school, Ryan.
Well, okay, apparently he's going to be like 26 when the second movie comes out, but he looks like he's like 14. So,
No, but the thing is,
I seriously thought I swear I read this kid was 15 when they filmed this. No?
no.
think so.
I think the age that they were going for Peter Parker
Was 15.
was 15, 16, and that's the thing is
He looks super young.
he looks super young. But one of the things I can forgive about a high school Peter Parker is that he doesn't have to naturally go through all of high school.
Well, that's true. In movies, they always have high schoolers being played by like 30-year-olds.
Well,
so
just if you look at an intelligent kid in high school, he's most likely not going to stay in high school sophomore, junior, senior year.
Yeah.
He's going to finish early and go off to college and be the small kid on campus of college.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I know the first movie that they're doing, at least from the reports that have come out, is that it's not an origin, but it does take place in high school. It's probably equivalent time
Senior year.
to this, and so maybe he does college second movie, right? So he's a little bit older, which I think is fine. But I like the kid. Kid's good. The costume's great. It's
the little movement
I
of
love
the
eye
eyes.
movement,
I don't.
It was weird when I saw it in the trailer, but as I was watching it in the movie, it works.
It works. It works perfectly fine. I think Deadpool and Spider-Man have both proven that you can have masks that move and it doesn't look weird. I mean, I still really like the first two Spider-Man movies, but having just that emotionless mask, it prevents the character from emoting properly, and it's you just.
Well, why do you think Iron Man took his helmet off so much in this movie?
Sure. Suspension. You just have the suspension of disbelief. All right. Let's move on to the big
Actually,
fight.
I want to ask quick.
Oh yeah.
In your opinion, one thing I remember is when Tony was talking to Spider-Man on the bed.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it felt like he was prepping him for Team Cap right away. I don't know why. I think it's because of the way he was saying, you want to do the right thing, you want to, which felt like a Team Cap thing and didn't feel like Iron Man to me.
Well, like I said, I feel like Iron Man at this point in the movie is still pretty much on the right. I mean, they know that Winter Soldier has been controlled before. Yeah. They could I don't want to say very easily prove, but they should be able to pretty easily prove that, like we find out a little bit later, it wasn't Winter Soldier that set off this explosion. So this whole manhunt thing, all this fighting is basically for nothing. But we have to have the movie where they fight for an hour.
You
so
do realize that that's every single superhero fight in comic books.
Of course,
it's virtually for nothing.
But in some movies, it resolves itself a little faster.
This is you trying not to refer back to
movies,
BVS.
It resolves itself a little faster and a little less dramatically.
Oh, Martha!
I have no idea what you're talking about. So let's move on to the big fight.
Well, I was just saying, like, I think it felt like his reasoning for joining Team Iron Man as Spider-Man was really he was joining to be Team Cap, but he was on the wrong. But it seemed like he was lured to the wrong side because it didn't seem like he had a.
Well, Iron Man was
lured to the dark side.
Iron Man was kind of feeding him a line, right? I mean,
but that's why it felt a little off because it's like that's something Cap would say, not Iron Man would say. Then if Spider-Man was smart enough when they were fighting, he would have realized, wait, I'm on the wrong side.
Yeah,
but he's a kid; he doesn't know. I mean, he's cracking jokes and not fighting. And they have to call him on it.
Yeah, but I mean, just the fact that he's bad, go fight him, and he's just going to do it. It seems like he's not that stupid just because Tony said do it.
He's only been doing it for 6 months at this point.
Yeah, I mean he's really young. He's really young at this point and new to the whole superhero game. I mean, his outfit looked like.
And who wouldn't be influenced by Tony Stark if he walked in here and said, "I need you"?
And he's giving you, and supposedly he's giving you a grant.
He's giving you a grant, and
I don't have any real problem with Spider-Man joining him. I wonder if they'll acknowledge that in another movie of like, hey, you kind of used me, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they'll probably do that.
Yeah. So the big fight. We have to talk about the big fight.
Are you using the word big for a reason?
Okay, wait. Before we go big, let's go small.
I don't care.
Let's go about Tony needing to. Let's talk about Tony needing to having to do some maintenance on the armor because Ant-Man got inside it. That was fantastic. I love it.
Let's do something.
I'm gonna have to do some maintenance on this.
If I could pick out like 10 minutes of this movie, it would be the greatest 10 minutes of any movie ever. And that would be every minute that Ant-Man is in this movie.
Oh,
because
Paul Rudd.
Black Panther,
Oh my God.
Spider-Man, they're fine. Cap's fine. Thor's fine. All these characters are
Thor's
fine.
not in it.
I mean, Cap and Iron Man. Cap and Iron Man are fine. Thor's fine too.
I was gonna let him go. I was gonna let him go on that.
No,
and just see
hell
how far
no.
with it.
Because specifically at the beginning, you lost Thor and Hulk. What's your track record?
Yeah. Ant-Man, by far, steals this movie. No question about it.
And if Ant-Man doesn't do it, Giant Man definitely.
So when Black Panther shows up, audience says nothing. When Spider-Man shows up, our audience makes no noise. When Ant-Man turns into Giant Man, it got the biggest reaction. There were 2 reactions in our audience, and this was one of them. This is the biggest reaction from the audience when he turns into Giant Man, and holy shit. I mean, as Ant-Man, he's fantastic. As Giant Man, he's amazing. And thank God Legends of Tomorrow beat them to Adam turning into Giant Adam a couple of weeks prior to this movie coming out. But no, I mean, disagree. Ant-Man steals this movie. He's the best part of the movie. There's no question.
Ant-Man is
question.
is awesome.
He's amazing.
Ant-Man is awesome, yeah.
Okay, so
I like throw this at this.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a water truck.
Yeah.
the best thing about Ant-Man is you get the homage cover to Hawkeye shooting him with the arrow.
Yeah, that's good.
You get Giant Man.
Yeah, Giant Man was amazing.
You get the quippy kind of funny dialogue that he's used to. He gets into Iron Man's suit and starts talking,
tearing it apart.
and Iron Man's going, "Who's talking?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "It's your conscience. I know I'm not always here all the time, but." And the water truck, I thought it was a water truck. Like, it is all just perfect and the thing is I think that's why I enjoyed Spider-Man in it, because I liked the balance, because it was like Team Iron Man had their
one guy.
And then Team Cap, even though Team Cap's funny guy was much better. Just the interactions that you have between the two of them is just hilarious. But Ant-Man, oh God, Paul Rudd. Jesus Christ! When he's like, I've only tried this in the lab, and every time I do it, I pass out. I'm like,
when I said every time, I meant once.
And I'm like, wait, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
And
the second everyone realizes, everyone's like, "Oh my God, here we go!" And he's little, and he's running on that little ramp, and he's like, so
well, and
good.
he was running, and you're like, oh yeah, he's going somewhere, and then they go to this long shot, and he's still a decent amount of ways away from the end of it.
Yeah.
You're just like, he was.
Yeah, Ant-Man.
I loved Iron Man's. I love Tony's comment in there. Anybody else have any powers they don't want to tell us about that we don't know we could use right now?
Yeah, Ant-Man to me, just no question, absolutely stole the show. If he's the best part of the fight, the worst part of the fight is this. What happened to Vision? They start to fight, and Vision vanishes. Then he draws the line in the sand. And then he's like, just taken out by Scarlet Witch, and then vanishes again.
No, he wasn't in the beginning.
No, he wasn't in the beginning.
Yeah, where was he?
He draws the line,
there.
and then he's there. I think what it is because I was like, thinking, I'm like watching it. I think he's there, but who he's
not.
Who he's fighting is not.
They never show him.
It doesn't. Yeah. It's not really clear because the only person he would be fighting is Wanda.
No, but she's fighting other people.
But she's fighting other people.
Never show him fight anyone. It's real strange.
Yeah, he just shows up halfway through the battle.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. I agree. It's what I don't know. Maybe he was sitting there thinking about it for a second because he does a lot of thinking.
Yeah. I guess he was the one evacuating all the thousands of people that were supposed to be in the airport.
Maybe. I don't know. But I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
Now the big fight ends, and everyone's seen the trailer. Where War Machine is like on the ground and Tony's like holding his body. So that was actually the scene that got the other big reaction in the crowd that we were in, because Vision shoots off a beam to try to hit Falcon. And by the way, he would have evaporated Falcon had that actually hit him.
Yeah.
Because it destroys War Machine. Like it destroys his
chest
armor.
piece.
Well,
His chest piece armor.
It, like-
shakes his. It
But
goes. It grazes him
and
right
it
along the
rips
chest
it in
piece.
half. Yeah.
Well,
So-
he rips the power source out. That's the problem. Is he hits
he
the
would
power
have
source?
had that hit Falcon. It would have ripped a lot more than a power source out of him, and it would have tore him in half.
Yeah, he was aiming at Falcon's back. I mean,
Yeah.
he would have. That was it. He would have been gone.
He would have tore him in half.
Red Wing would have been crying artificial tears.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
So when they're coming
That's really
down,
bad.
It's funny though. You want to pet it.
Falcon, he dodges out of the way. It hits War Machine. Falcon and Iron Man both go down to save him, and they don't get him. He hits the ground with just the most brutal thud.
Yeah.
And it's this real distant shot,
Yeah.
and you just see him hit and bounce, and the whole audience was like, "Oh!"
Yeah.
And again, this is why I'm not saying I don't like this movie. There's a lot of really good scenes in this movie, and that was definitely one of them. And that was that was. In other movies where heroes have fought each other, there's some violent stuff, but that was almost like the most just thud in any of these superhero movies. We're like, oh fuck, like that guy didn't just get like randomly stabbed and there's no blood. Like that's fucked. That gets fucked.
Yeah.
Like it was really brutal and a little surprising.
I was surprised because I would think that Tony would have had at least an alternate power supply somewhere in the suit, not right dead piece in the chest piece. It could have been somewhere else. But
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, he lost the power. He dead sticked it. So
Yeah.
that's all. He's a.
mean, really, the
falling tin can at that.
The only
point,
thing that
so.
saved him was the inside of that suit.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Take a hit.
you took the
gel
Tony
insert.
took the Tony took the mask off, and he wasn't just
Mush.
jelly, like
Yeah. So,
well, and then he just zaps Falcon.
After, yeah.
Falcon's
Well,
coming
Falcon
over
was
like
up. Sorry.
sorry.
and Iron Man just fucking blasts him and knocks him out. And again, it's not like a funny scene or like a crazy. It's like, oh god, this fight just got bad,
Real. Yeah.
And this is where kind of to me, the movie it doesn't fall apart. That's not what I'm saying, but where do you go? Because obviously these guys can all get back together and be friends and fight Ultron or fight Thanos. I mean, but like, it's kind of you can't come back from this. Mm-hmm. So they're all arrested. Everyone but but Cap and Bucky get arrested. They're all now on the raft, like the raft from the.
Can we
comic.
talk about the raft for a second? Who wanted to see Abomination in there? I wanted to freaking see. I wanted to see some other villain in there besides the hero.
Well, the only people that are in there apparently are the Avengers. Like, hey, we
I
built
know.
this thing for these guys.
I know, what the hell? I mean,
Yeah.
where's Abomination?
I
Where
think
they storing his
that was
ass
definitely a lost opportunity.
Yeah.
In the film.
I mean, wait. I mean, Iron Man kills all his all his bad guys.
Yeah.
So who?
Oh, there's like none. Yeah, there's like none around.
So nothing from Iron Man. Ultron's down. He's
Red Skull's gone.
Red Skull's gone.
Crossbones is dead.
Loki's
that was kind of a
Loki's in
Asgard.
in Asgard.
Yeah, they can't keep 4 people there.
No. So I
Yeah.
mean, who's
Ant-Man kills
Ant-Man
Yellow
got-
Jacket.
Yeah.
That,
Ant-Man killed
one,
Yellow-
that one guy in Winter Soldier, the purple guy with the that he fights on the boat.
Oh, Batrock the Leaper.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Batrock.
But he gets
Batroc.
killed.
Does he get killed?
Yeah, he gets murdered.
No. He didn't get killed. No. Baron Strucker got killed.
Strucker got killed.
Strucker
Yeah.
So Batroc is still around.
So
Yes.
one.
One guy.
So he could have been.
he got picked up by Interpol.
Oh
Yeah.
So
My point is, he could have been on the raft too.
It could be
Yes,
Batroc
he
the
could have been.
Leaper and the Avengers.
Purple Man's dead.
Are in the Shield.
Purple Man's dead.
Yeah.
So
Kingpin's in.
Could have had Kingpin in there, but
Rikers.
he's in Rikers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, not too many. Not too many
but
villains.
Abomination was a lost opportunity. They could have had him in there, all strapped up. So
now we kind of get into the final part of the movie here. I don't think I'm missing anything major.
I was going to ask you also really quick. When you get to that point at the end of that whole scene, did you get the feeling like, okay, we're already 2 hours into this movie. When the hell are they going to finish this whole plot line? Because it's like, this is a big action sequence already, and you're like, wait, we haven't even resolved anything in the movie yet.
Well, anything at this point.
And that's where we're getting this last scene. So they head to Siberia. They find that Zemo did not go there to get these 5 Winter Soldiers. He went there to kill them. He executes the 5 sleeper agents, literally sleeper agents that are
the sleepers
frozen.
are permanently sleepers.
Yeah. They're frozen in carbonite, and at this point, I sort of
Frozen in carbonite.
I'm joking. Took you a minute there. So this is where I kind of like. This is where all the stuff gets revealed. You find out Zemo's backstory. But you find out the more important piece is that the reason we have had these flashbacks within the movie to the death
December 21st, 1991.
to the death of Stark's parents
It was 16th.
Oh, 16th, sorry.
is because, well, there's some weird math there too, because if he's in World War II with Agent Carter at like 30 years old, and in the 90s he's like 9, I guess is he supposed to be is his dad supposed to be like 90 years old when he's killed?
Don't know.
No,
don't look 90.
Those aren't those two different Howards?
No, that's his dad in Agent Carter.
No,
and in Cap 1.
It's
Yeah.
a different actor, but
Different actor,
it's the same actor that was in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's what's his face from what's the guy's name, Leanne? From
Hello, Data Source.
Mad Men. Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So it's the same act, but
Anyway, whatever. He's supposed to be 90 years.
So,
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
He's got to be in the 70s at least.
Yeah. So you discover that Winter Soldier is actually the person that killed his parents. That killed Tony Stark's parents. He had the super soldiers. Yeah, or Roger Sterling. Thank you. He had the super soldier serum, or not the
Okay.
not the soldier serum. What was it?
No, that's the
it was
serum.
soldier serum, right?
Yeah.
He had
A version of
it that are the ones that they used to create these 5 other Winter Soldiers.
Okay, so in the storylines, they've tried multiple times to recreate the super soldier serum,
Right.
But without the beta rays, it actually drove the participants insane.
Right.
Which is exactly what happened on this one.
Yeah, they'll go crazy.
Yeah,
They start killing
yeah.
everyone,
They start killing everyone.
and that's why they capture him, freeze him,
Right.
and lock him up.
Yep.
So I mean, he kills him just because he doesn't want more Winter Soldiers.
He doesn't want 5 more Buckies running around.
No, it's because he was destroying all of Hydra's stuff.
But why?
Well, he didn't need it. That wasn't his point. So he's just.
Yeah, but why kill those guys? This is where I kind of start to lose his.
Well, it's because he knows that if they get loose, they're going to do the same thing the Avengers did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so his whole plot here is that I can get the Avengers to fight each other by revealing to Tony Stark that his father was killed by Winter Soldier and that Cap and Iron Man will kind of have a fight over this. But they already fight constantly through this movie, even before this is revealed.
Okay, so the reason Tony lost his mind at this point is he found out that Cap knew.
Right.
When Bucky came back from being reactivated the second time, when he broke out, and he said he remembered everything, and he said something about he asked me about December 16, 1991. And then it goes to something else. At this point, you got to figure he told Cap everything. He told him about the super soldier serum that was in the back of the trunk, and he told him
Cap
that
knows.
he had killed the Starks at that point, and he knew he was. Now Cap said specifically that he tried to spare Stark the grief of it, but he was also sparing himself from having to deal with it too.
But Tony knows. I mean, he's fighting after Winter Soldier this whole time under false pretenses, and he even knows it's not Winter Soldier that did this stuff, and he knows Winter Soldier's not in control. I understand the rage, and I understand I'm just going to flip out here because you killed my parents, but Tony's a real smart guy. He knows that this isn't the villain.
Yeah, but he's gone to 2 different ends of the rainbow twice in this movie. He's gone, he's gone from, okay, I'm going to support the government. Okay, I understand what Steve's going on. Okay, I'm the Winter Soldier blew up the UN nations.
It wasn't him.
And and then he goes back to Falcon and says, I know it wasn't him. I just want to help him, as a friend.
Yeah.
And then he goes out there and finds out, you killed my parents.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
The thing is
this has been, and apparently this has been a big raw spot in his past for a long, long time.
But again, it wasn't Winter Soldier that killed his parents.
Understood.
It
was Winter Soldier that killed his parents. It wasn't Bucky.
Okay, fine. It was not Bucky that killed his parents, and you would think you hate the people that did this to you. You hate all these remnants. We need to. Obviously,
nobody's going to resolve that quickly.
By us fighting,
he's consumed by rage.
But Tony, he's a futurist. He sees 10 moves in the future. He knows how this is going to play out.
But the thing
by
is
fighting Cap and Winter Soldier, I don't like if this was like any other character, I probably wouldn't mind. But the fact that it's Iron Man knows that this will accomplish nothing and make it worse.
But
And
right
he
now,
Said-
don't forget,
he said it doesn't matter. He killed my mom.
I know. I just.
he's
I don't-
also
He killed Martha.
And then the thing is I mean, the thing is,
You know that both of their best friends are named James, right?
Yeah.
They should have been friends after that.
the thing is
James.
I think because
me back
Tony
my roadie.
had known his parents were in an accident.
Yep.
He never saw his parents die.
Right.
In this, he sees Winter Soldier basically punch his father in the face and
Strangle his mom.
and then casually
Yeah.
Strangles his mom.
strangles his mother. And the thing is it moves. The camera moves up to see that, but we don't. Like
But he
Tony
sees
is
it. He
seeing
sees it.
all of
Sure,
it happen,
sure.
and that's the thing is it's traumatic for him. But like Jim said, because Cap knew about it, right? It's because there was a betrayal. Because Cap didn't tell him. Because Cap was, he says specifically, "I thought you were my friend." All this stuff, and that's the thing is that's when Tony kind of loses it, right?
Yeah. I get it.
Yes, I understand. He is more of a.
I get it, but it's not. It's not Tony. That's just. I mean, the way they portrayed him in these movies, he's not just. I don't know. Like, I think that's my hard. I think it's one thing that's the hardest part of in this movie.
Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man has been a little off since Iron Man 2.
Well, Iron Man 3 is all about him being like PTSD and kind of all crazy. So,
Well, I think Civil War in this case, Iron Man's all about loss.
yeah.
It's from the beginning of the movie. He loses Pepper, then he loses Rhodey. Now he's losing Cap.
Yeah.
And I think that's supposed to be the whole emotional trauma that he. That's why he goes off.
If you look at all of the emotional trauma that he's going through, yes, anybody would have a psychological breakdown, and sometimes that's you want to murder your friends.
Yeah.
So,
But you see him come back. By the end of the movie, you see him come back from it. Ross calls after when Cap is breaking him out. And says,
was
we have an
awesome.
issue. He goes, please hold. No, don't you put me on.
Let's talk about real quick Everett Ross before you mention played by Martin Freeman. So you're talking about someone else. You're talking about Thaddeus Ross.
Thaddeus Ross, yeah.
Everett Ross played by Martin Freeman. If you've never read the Christopher Priest Black Panther comics, go out and buy them. There are 3 collections out now. I think there's going to be 4 total.
They just started coming out with those. So.
Yeah, the first 3 volumes are out now. 4's coming out soon. Everett Ross is his like government liaison, and he's the greatest character ever. So if you're like, why is Martin Freeman in this movie? Like, who's this guy? Go read the Black Panther comics by Christopher Priest. They're out in trade now. And I'm so excited for the Black Panther movie because of Everett Ross. He's like the straight white guy in this kind of like world that he's like, I'm kind of out of my place here. And he's so awkward and quirky, and it's so good. And Martin Freeman's the most perfect pick for him. So,
What'd you think about Iron Man blowing off Winter Soldier's arm?
I mean, it makes. Here's a question for you. Sorry, we actually jumped a little ahead here because Black Panther actually was in this fight as well.
Yeah.
Question for you. They never acknowledge it. What's up with Black Panther's ring and Winter Soldier's arm? They kept repelling each other. Is it just vibranium
It's
repelling
vibranium.
vibranium?
Yeah.
Because they never acknowledge what's going on there. So I assume that's what it was, but they never I thought they were going to do something with that, but they never.
Maybe what it is his ring is vibranium.
Yeah.
And his arm is adamantium, but they can't tell us.
I think his arm's vibranium, right? I mean, didn't they?
No.
they
His arm.
haven't-
His arm. Winter Soldier's arm is not vibranium. It's something else because his arm was created way back in right after after World War II.
Well, Cap's shield is half vibranium.
But that was when they
But,
first.
that was very limited. That was
very
the
limited.
amount they had at the time.
I mean, I just have no idea if this is something they're going to bring up in the Black Panther movie, or if like this.
It might be something.
Yeah.
You guys all saw this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, no, you're crazy, but
I can totally see Tony coming up with a new arm for Winter Soldier later.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and this is the thing too, because Black Panther captures Zemo. He's involved in the capture of Zemo. He now
Prevents him from committing suicide.
prevents him from committing suicide, and is now holding Winter Soldier, keeping him safe from the rest of the world. Black Panther makes, to me, the logical decisions in this,
Yeah.
whereas Iron Man doesn't, and that's what makes it so weird to me.
Well, the
Black
thing is,
Panther. I'm sorry, but I think Black Panther.
You have literally
he
the person
went through
that,
his anger. He went through his 7 steps as well. All right.
in like a day. He had the person that
It wasn't a day.
It was like a few days later. He was accused of killing his father, and the person that actually killed his father.
A few days later.
A few days later. What happened with Iron Man was decades ago. I understand his pain and loss. I just don't see him reacting that way. Black Panther, I figured would have.
But Tony started recovering from it, as you saw later on. You know, with the Ross phone call and stuff like that. So, you know, he's getting over it. He understands.
It goes back to the VR memory flashback that Tony had, and he says that you can relive those traumatic moments in your life, resolve them with this, and that's the thing is for him. And you could tell in the look in his, the look that he had in that memory, that there was something that wasn't revolved. And the thing is you were right, Lane, in saying that he's lost Pepper. He's lost at this point Rhodes. And it's at this point now he's been betrayed in a sense, feels betrayed by Cap, and that's the thing is because he doesn't have. Because he hasn't resolved that in his life, the death of his parents, it was never resolved. It was always the question mark in his mind, and that's the thing that drives like a lot of men, a lot of smart guys.
No.
You could be 10 steps ahead, but there's that one thing.
No, he never had a question mark. His parents died in a car accident. It was never a question for Tony Stark.
But it was regret.
Cap knew since Winter Soldier that Hydra had them killed. Cap knew.
I don't remember that, but maybe
Armin Zola told him. He said, "When people get in our way, we have them killed." And it showed the Starks being killed.
Okay,
all right, but it didn't show the car wreck.
Yeah.
Okay, this is new. This is new information.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Winter Soldier told him that he had done it that he already knew. So before seeing the video, I mean, the easiest thing for Cap to do at that point would be to shield that screen and punch it so that Iron Man could not see the video.
Yeah. So do we think we have now the government has Zemo? Do we now have the start of the Suicide Squad? I mean the Thunderbolts here with Zemo heading up a task force.
They could.
Did you guys like the classic cover of Cap holding the shield and Iron Man zapping it at the same time?
Yeah, that was straight Civil War 7.
Civil War,
yeah. So they fight to basically the death. There's a script out there, I will guarantee you 100%, that has Iron Man dying right there at the very end, right? Because it seemed like...
Well, yeah, because Robert Downey didn't agree to do any more movies at that point.
Cap shatters his power chest piece, and then just walks away. It drops his shield and walks away.
My daughter,
with Bucky.
My daughter goes, he's going to decapitate him. And I was like, well, he's done it to vampires.
No, I just straight up thought, because I was 100% convinced at the end of this movie Iron Man was going to die. 100% convinced. And it's like they start to go for it, and then they don't. Yeah. So a little weird. After a little time has passed, Cap sends Iron Man a letter that basically says, sorry, not sorry.
Whoa. Don't glaze over the best cameo Stan Lee has done so far.
Stan Lee.
I don't know how this man keeps outdoing the last cameo he does.
Tony Stank.
Tony Stank. Oh my God.
Tony Stank.
And then Rhodes keeps. He's like, you're never living that down. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah. So
because we still got the kind of joke with the language and stuff at the beginning of the movie when they're all together in. I can't remember when they're trying to take down Crossbones and. There was that little bit banter that was kind of like no swearing and stuff. So Stan Lee delivers the letter to the FedEx box to Tony
Stank.
Which amazingly, he actually tried to deliver it. It's a complete lie about FedEx.
Well, the box was actually looked in good condition, so clearly not an actual FedEx box.
Should have shown him throwing it over the wall.
Just kicking it a few times. But he
just drop it before he hands it to him. Sign here.
No, what would have happened is he would have put on the note at the door that said "Try to deliver." No one was here, and they got him the van and drove away. While Tony Stark's just standing right there. But yeah, no. So
couldn't find Tony Stank.
Yeah, Cap sends him a letter that basically says, "Sorry, not sorry. I'll peace out. I'll see you in Avengers 3." Right? I get the point of the letter, but it really came down to like, I'm not sorry. Sorry.
So now we'll have the Secret Avengers with the new Avengers.
Yep. So
Yep.
Cap,
I'm sorry, Mighty Avengers. We had the New Avengers and the Mighty Avengers.
Cap
Split off.
Cap goes off, breaks everyone out of the raft.
Goes to Brooklyn, gets Daredevil and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, and creates the Defenders versus the Avengers.
But
Now-
you know what? He still has the best teammate in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And he can get another vibranium shield from T'Challa.
Now, what do you
T'Challa.
think? Well, I was going to say maybe the energy shield next.
Oh, please,
God,
no.
shoot
no.
yourself.
What's wrong with the energy shield?
up.
You need
What's
to
wrong
be,
with the
kicked
energy
off the
shield?
It
podcast.
sucks. What are you
Leanne, can
talking
you replace
about?
him for the rest of the podcast, please? Okay.
The energy shield, really?
For a movie, sure.
Oh,
my
come
God.
on, Jesus! Let's at least go
How
with the
about we get
vibranium. How about at least a vibranium shield?
I bet you're a fan of
no.
Capwolf, okay?
No, hold
Shut
on.
up.
No, hold on. He probably wants to see an electric blue Superman in
Damn.
a
I
movie.
wanna, oh my God! How about the captain? We can have the captain.
Well, that's so we have the choice. We have U.S.
I
agent.
really thought that was going to happen too. I really thought on the raft.
Do we have U.S. agent, the captain, or what's his other one?
He was never U.S. agent.
What's his third one?
Nomad?
Nomad.
Nomad. Yeah. So where do they go from here?
That is such a
I think they're going to
stupid
do.
costume.
I think they're
Nomad.
going to do a combination of like U.S. Agent and Nomad.
Yeah. Nomad costume.
He was never
Okay.
U.S. agent.
no,
US
but they can.
but
but they can go with it.
Now,
Yeah.
now I have a question for all you guys here. Why the fuck was Nick Fury not in this movie?
yeah, that's kind of weird.
Like,
They mentioned Shield once, but they never.
Yeah, but Nick Fury never.
Yeah.
None of them show up. We don't get Maria Hill. We
Yeah.
don't get.
we don't have Shield
No Shield.
anymore. We don't have Shield anymore.
But we still have Nick Fury.
No, Coulson's still around.
Yeah,
no,
Coulson's
no, no,
still
no.
around.
I mean,
like we said, we don't have Shield.
we don't
anymore.
have Shield anymore.
Yeah, but we
okay?
still had Nick Fury.
This movie, if nothing else, proves 100% that the Agents of Shield Agents of Shield TV show is now completely divorced from the movies. There's no connection to it. I guess there was some little setup to Civil War in a more recent episode, but whatever. The TV show was complete garbage and there's no connection to the movies. They completely divorced it.
Anyway,
then
so he's breaking him free from the raft.
Yep.
Thaddeus Ross, Thunderbolt
Yeah.
Ross is pissed.
Yep.
Tony
put on hold.
and he's also pissed because Tony put him on hold.
Yeah.
So-
And then we get that little after credit scene. Peter Parker will return.
No, you're skipping. The
No,
middle one.
you missed it.
What's in?
You skipped the middle one.
What's the middle one?
Spider-Man will return was the very last.
Yeah.
No, the one in the middle is the Winter Soldier.
Oh,
put under.
I mentioned
and us seeing Black Panther.
the big Black Panther. Yeah, I mean that was kind of a nothing thing. And then the end credits is Spider-Man's his little spider
Spider symbol.
like the bat symbol thing is all Iron Man-y now. So Iron Man will probably play some role in the upcoming movies. But yeah, like I said, I don't have the same problems as I have at the Age of Ultron. I question some of the motivation, some of the stuff that's going on. I didn't hate it. I really want to see it a second time. I think maybe my expectations were just a little bit high.
I think you watching it a second time.
Okay, let's go
you'll
see it tomorrow
probably-
before you fly out.
It'll probably I might bump up a little bit on my list of where I had it, but I think this is the thing.
Your B- grade sucks.
When
Let's
you
just get to it.
have 13 movies and like 11 of them are good to amazing, it's like you got.
Okay, which two are not?
I mean,
Iron Man 3 and his
Iron
mind.
Man 3 and Hulk. Hulk is fine. It's just not
No,
great.
it's not. It's not great. But
And like even Age of Ultron, I don't hate Age of Ultron. It's just it's not as good as the couple that
I
came
agree
before
with
it.
you, but this
Yeah.
is a lot better than a B-. I think it's at least a B+ or an A-.
I mean, for me, what I did was
Team Iron Man. That's why.
I basically looked at every movie, and I didn't rank them. I said I'm going to Iron Man is on the list. Now here's the next movie. Here's Hulk. Well, Hulk was not as good as Iron Man, and I basically put them in order of where I thought. And
Okay, I can understand
there's a
that.
couple that again we're talking degrees of separation
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
right? Degrees of separation, but.
like decimal points that they're this
Okay,
one's
well,
better
you
than the
can
other
you
one.
can give it your B-. I really think it's closer to like an A-.
Okay.
I like it right. It's either right below or dead even with Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Okay, as much as Zemo is not the Zemo we've known to come and love and come to love in the comic books. The character does have a motivation. He explains himself.
I agree with
I was wanting him to off himself, but we need somebody else on the raft. So
They can't have people
They can't-
offing themselves in. They
can't
already
keep-
tried with Hulk.
We can't
okay?
keep offing the villains. We got to have somebody on the raft. somebody's got to keep Abomination company. So
They got to keep up with the Flash and how many people they have in their prison.
Yeah.
so
Because
okay.
then you have to have the mass breakout, right? Or that's where you start the Thunderbolts movie.
That's true. That's very true.
Brock,
do we have-
Wayne, what's your give? I mean, if you gotta judge it against another movie or give it a letter grade or whatever, what's your thoughts?
I really enjoyed it. I think an A- is a good spot for it. I mean, I think it did have a little bit of a drag plot wise and pacing wise, but I mean overall, I mean just seeing Ant-Man, Spider-Man,
The amount of heroes in this freaking movie, man.
sure.
Well, and that's the funny thing is, you know, I was seeing those pictures those pictures online, or where it's like the Deadpool's like what they the whole Deadpool line, what they couldn't get another X-Men here, and people put up like the picture of everyone going against each other, and it's like this open space and a couple of people. I'm like, what, they couldn't add a couple more heroes to this? But I think they did a really good job with the cast that they had. And yeah, the only real problems I had with this movie were, again, it didn't feel like a Cap movie. It felt more like an Avengers movie.
Sure.
And those...
But even the Avengers movies are Cap movies at the end of the day, right? I mean,
Or
Cap's
Iron
the
Man.
heart of the Avengers.
It's just that font size of the fucking pages, man.
F- because of the font size.
Like,
the
I
font
could give it a
size
solid.
sucked, right?
I could give it a solid A if it wasn't for those goddamn font
A+
sizes.
for the movie, F for the font.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It was
And
so
the
bad.
CGI and the CGI in
Couple
a couple
scenes.
scenes.
Lane, last thoughts?
Still, I mean, I'm still
Still
putting
B
it around
minus?
B- because it's not because of it was a bad film. Well, everything that we've said I agree with, except there's too many plot holes still in the film that we never talked about. Like there are way too many story points that made no sense.
Bring 'em up, bring 'em up.
Drive
Yeah.
a truck. Come on, let's go.
Bring 'em up.
Starting with, well, one, like you said, Zemo had no resources.
Yeah.
He goes to the soldier's house. He breaks down the wall. How do he know that was there? He finds that journal. It's like he never knew about the journal. And how does he know it's behind a wall?
For us, we want that, right? Because we come from the comic book side. Mass from being comic book readers, we want to see that play out a little bit more, right? We want to see his reasoning. And, hold on. But the thing is they're aiming this not at a comic book audience; they're aiming it at a mass audience.
Well, I think
and
we're
most
to believe
mass audiences don't give a shit.
Well, I think we're to believe that he learned this by decoding those Hydra documents.
Yeah.
But like,
But if he could do it, how come Shield couldn't do it?
no one else could do it.
Well,
yeah,
because
that's what I said.
Shield's in
It's-
shambles right now.
it's
Like,
the
they're
reason-
No, I'm saying if these files were all downloaded because Natasha
Yeah, 'cause she
did
released
it, right? That means Shield had these
But
files.
Shield is a government agency. We know how much funding they get.
Yeah,
The decoding thing is like two dudes and
I'm waiting for a note from Leanne.
like
Come over
Leanne
the
says,
wall.
it's like Leanne says. Sorry, it's more the how does he have the I don't the motivation doesn't bother me. It's more the how does he have the action.
Yeah.
his resources. His
Yeah.
I mean, because I think his drive is there, but it's not.
Sure.
But again, it's like the resources. Like where does it come from
And
next?
then-
Because we know you brought a list,
And then what else?
and you have it on index cards.
Well, I mean, like the biggest issue for me was if his whole plan was to get them to fight each other. What point in the movie does he actually know the truth? Because he keeps asking everybody, keeps talking about it, but then like everything. There's too many convenient circumstances that lead up to that point too. Like for example, up until they go up to, like for example, why did they go to Siberia? First of all, he's going to Siberia, supposedly, I don't know, to get the videotape. I don't know where the video was, whether he had it from the beginning or not.
There's definitely a lot of like it had to play out exactly as he planned,
Yeah.
and I agree. The characters I feel should have made different decisions.
Well, the biggest thing is he plans it to all happen in Siberia. How did he plan to get Stark there?
Yeah, because Stark.
None of his
Oh,
plans
that's
had
true.
Stark.
That's very true. Yeah.
yeah.
He was only planning to get Bucky there. And it's like, well, that's a major flaw in your plan.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I mean, because the thing is, if you're meticulous about it and you know exactly what's going to happen, and that no, hold on, because the thing is if once Cap knows that it's not Bucky, it's somebody in a mask, then somebody else is gonna like.
No, but he has to show it to Stark, though.
What if all 14 Avengers showed up? Like he'd be fucked, right? Like,
but he was going to shoot himself anyway.
but it wouldn't have done anything. I mean, the fact that he succeeds is like
Yeah.
completely by accident. It's like completely random that he succeeds.
Exactly. And then the
But he
fact that
does.
he's not killed is because T'Challa's there. Oh, he just happened to be flying around when Iron Man went to Siberia. It's like, that was also another coincidence. T'Challa had no idea of any of this stuff going into that.
Yeah.
So it's like, why is he there in that
Yeah.
Siberia? There's just too many coincidences that lead up to this ending, which
I agree.
cannot have been made logically.
Right, I agree.
So it's like this whole plan was pointless. And that's my issue with the story, where it's like there's...
Yeah, it's kind of like that Lex Luthor knows who everybody is and no explanation.
Right, that's why I say that. For me, that's the comparison with BVS. It's like, that's exactly the same point.
No, I can see where, I think for me, I can forgive certain things. Like I can believe that Black Panther's keeping tabs on Tony and seeing where Tony's going. So I can that's
part of it I can give.
That I can give. Is it yes? When you think about it, how did he really know to get him there? And maybe it was something that we all missed, or maybe and that's the thing, is it could have been something that was in the movie that they said, oh well, we can cut out and it should be fine. But the thing is, we don't know. But yes, there is that kind of mentality. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't mind Zemo's character, because I mean, for me, I got that he was passionate enough about enacting vengeance to basically learn how to do stuff. So
in the comic, Zemo is a strategist, and he's a military, a military member, and so he could plot out a lot of things. Have 3 steps, 5 steps ahead of what the next person's going to do. I don't see this character. I agree with Ryan that I don't see this character as that person. There's a lot of luck involved with many things, and that too creates the plot holes that you're speaking of. So,
I mean, Luthor would have been fucked if Superman went down and said, "Hey, Batman, let's talk." And Batman's like, "All right."
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's not any different.
Yeah.
But it is kind of like you sort of really
lucked out on that one.
You assumed the stuff
Exactly.
was going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, we're running kind of long here. What
else you got?
Do you go on?
I'll just skip over a couple really other little. Some of them are just minor.
I
It's like,
picked
there's a
Are they
couple
petty?
lot.
Are they petty?
little things. No, I know that was one of my. Another one would be like a weird. This is just a weirdness, which is like, okay, Cap and Bucky take off from the airport to go to Siberia.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man goes to see Rhodes, goes to the raft, and yet arrives at Siberia 10 minutes after.
At the same time, yeah.
What happened?
They were flying. They had to stop.
They had a connecting flight. They lost their luggage.
Well, no, they had to stop to get what's the thing they ate at the end of the Avengers?
Oh, some shawarma.
Shawarma. Yeah, they stopped to get some shawarma.
And then let's see what was. And then the other thing I was like worried about is. Well, I asked Ryan earlier, which I don't know, maybe we covered, is the Sokovia Accords. Like, one, they never showed when it was signed.
Yeah,
They just kind of glanced over.
Well,
and then
I think what happens is they're like, here it is.
Yeah.
It's acknowledged that you don't have to, like, you don't sign it, you just agree with it or you don't agree with it. And all the Avengers are like, we agree with it.
The thing is
I think that the UN signed it.
Something
into
like
order.
that is like Black Widow would sign paperwork. It's not something that she would sign on. It's like the big. It's like 2 presidents would sign it, or
yeah.
somebody
I'm not worried about
else.
that, but it's like, okay, so at what point do these things take effect? Because I don't know.
Normally,
why
normally
didn't it affect?
it's
T'Challa?
January 1st of the next year.
Right.
Well, they said like, oh, if you
Jesus
agree with it now, we'll retroactively apply it to the last 24 hours,
Yeah.
right?
But it was like, okay, well, if these accords, like, were the accords? I don't think the accords were supposed to specifically say just the Avengers. It was supposed
any
to,
powered person.
any
Yeah,
powered
any powered
person.
person, yeah.
So why doesn't it affect T'Challa?
Yeah.
When
They
he shows,
should.
when he unmasks, it's like they should have just immediately taken him into custody.
Yeah.
Because that's the only place we get vibranium,
And
we
after-
can't fuck with those people.
After Natasha told Tony to watch his back and she disappeared.
Yeah.
After she screwed them at the airport and let Cap and went help.
Well, no,
and kept-
she helped him find him.
She she helped him find. Where'd she go? She's not on the raft. She should be on the raft with the rest of them.
Yeah.
She did. And then I think the last thing I was curious is Scarlet. The whole thing that starts it is Scarlet Witch messes up, throws Crossbones into the building, and kills the Wakandans. Why? Like, at no point in the movie does it say Scarlet Witch is having troubles controlling her powers. All the rest of the movie, she's controlling her powers perfectly.
I
What
don't-
made him throw him like?
I think she was just trying to get the bomb away so it didn't explode right there on the ground, but I think she just misjudged where it was going. I don't think it was a control power problem. I think it was she just threw it up in the air. And
I think it was
bigger than expected.
I think it was for her. Yes, she's dealt with bullets and she's dealt with other little things, but this is a controlled, containing a huge explosion.
Well, but she deals with that at the Age of Ultron.
But once again, it's a coincidence because why did it hit the Wakandans, not another random Nigerian building?
Well, yeah. Well, and the thing is that it wasn't. It was they were there to help. Like it wasn't. It was like an aid thing, and it was like, I don't know. It kind of felt like the news reports. San Jose man was killed on some cruise down in this place.
I don't think that he set that up to happen. I don't think he was.
Which he?
I don't think Zemo was involved with setting up Crossbones, but I think
he
was.
Well, yeah, he might have set him up. They don't say who set.
No, because
up.
Crossbones is working for somebody.
Yeah,
but
he says Bucky, but he knows Cap knows his BS, so it had to be Zemo with the mask as Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, then in that case, I agree with Lane. It makes no sense. How did he? How would he have known that would happen?
The fact that
I guess it doesn't matter who dies, just someone dies.
Yeah,
she tried to contain the blast and throw
maybe
him up.
Zemo's from the future.
yeah, and then like the only other minor one would be like how like the whole thing they said was he manipulated it so that the photo went out right away so that he would be able to be the first one to interrogate Bucky.
Yeah.
We know that he switched identities.
Yeah.
How did he get the photo out? Because the photo doesn't come through him. It goes through whatever other department that Thunderbolt Ross is running. And it's like, there's a logic problem there, too, where it's like, okay, there had to be another agent, but we just have to take that leap of faith again.
Yeah.
Well, he knew where the bomb was going to go off, so he knew where the
Did
footage
he
was
take the
gonna...
picture and leak it or something?
No, it was a setup photo, but then they said specifically the only reason that he would get the only reason to set up this way is because the photo was leaked before the press got to it. Which
Maybe
meant that it had to be
he
from
leak it?
Yeah, but it was an inside job. But see, he's not actually
No, but
working
did he
for them.
physically take the picture?
No, he was in the picture.
But I mean, did he?
It was a closed circuit camera system. So all he probably
He
did
just
was
knew how to hack into it or
knew
something.
he hacked into it, got the file, and sent the file off. That's basically what it would have
But the
done.
thing was that the organization, I forgot the one that they worked
Interpol?
for.
We're not talking about a 3.5 hour long movie at this point, and that's the
Can
problem.
we not do a 2.5 hour podcast?
We're getting there.
I know we are. Fuck. All
Let's
right.
move on to some questions.
Yeah, go for it.
A couple comments here. Some Charlie on Twitter, not our Charlie.
Oh,
He says,
Sorry, I didn't make it.
Well, guys, you have to notice he said some Charlie.
Yeah. He says, I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. He seemed like a good fit for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What do you think of Black Widow being the one to defect sides? Totally makes sense. That's Black Widow.
She's been
Black
playing
Widow.
both sides forever. So.
Yeah.
the only one.
She left in the movie to go do her own movie. So
I mean, another one that disappeared was Agent 13. She defected.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
too.
she played both sides easy. Yeah.
that now that
No, wait.
I like
That
Agent
scene,
13
that
too.
kiss scene. Come on.
the VW scene.
that was great.
Someone brings up that in a second here.
Please move up your seat.
Bad Wild on Twitter says, the only thing that bugged me about Spider-Man was that he didn't know they were called AT-ATs. He's meant to be a nerd. Nah, it's an old movie. I kind of get that. This from Keith. You got a few. He says, loved
Not
it.
that old.
Yeah. He says, I loved it. Don't know why the critics, why the reviews criticize Zemo. Well, we did too, and most of us did. So maybe a little more explanation. I don't know.
Or maybe a second viewing will clear that up.
His role was small but significant. Most of all, he won. I agree. Cap choosing Bucky was the ultimate betrayal. I was Team Cap, but Robert Downey Jr.'s performance post-Revelation was raw and gut-wrenching. I don't disagree with that. I mean, it was a dark-ass movie.
Yep.
And it ends with them being criminals. So, I don't know where you go from here. This is from Hiram.
Secret Avengers.
Maybe. He says, after
West
the
Coast.
airport scene and the Tony versus Bucky versus Cap, Tony versus Bucky and Cap, is there any way you still think Batman vs. Superman's action was better? Now, okay, let's break this down into a few things. First,
Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Leanne, you did hear when he said he doesn't want to talk about BVS, right? Okay.
the Tony versus Bucky and Cap thing, I complained about this when it was in the trailer. That's like a super choreographed CG fight scene. That little one where they're hitting each other back and forth.
Yeah.
And I like the Bucky Cap versus Tony stuff for the most part. I liked especially when they ripped off Batman Begins or Batman the third one where he's climbing up when Bane's climbing up the wall and he shuts the thing on top of him. So anyway. The airport scene, though, was absolutely incredible for the most part. There was some shoddy special effects. The vision thing kind of bugged me, but Ant-Man absolutely steals the show. But I loved all the Doomsday fight scene in Batman vs Superman, and the Wonder Woman smiling is the equivalent of Giant Man to me. It's the same sort of like, holy shit. Like, I love the Batman v Superman fight. I mean, whatever. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But they're good in different ways.
I think for me, you have to compare the airport scene to the big fight at the end of BVS. It's not the three of them duking it out. It's that airport scene in the end. And I think that clarity wise, like crisp, and it looks, like you see everything, it has a good blend of everything.
One's a PG fight in the sun, and the other's a PG-13 fight in the darkness. Like, they're very different fights.
Basically, looks like there's a ton of fog and dirt everywhere, and like they're on a green screen. So, yeah, I mean, for me, it would have to be the Avengers fight with Ant-Man because it's just too good.
Giant Man.
Yep.
Giant Man's amazing. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Giant Man's amazing.
The action was great. Although I still can't stand the fact that the airport was completely empty, and not only that, the airplanes were brand new.
Airport's empty. Strikers Island's empty. Gotham's Harbor is empty.
This is my problem. This is my problem.
9 people died in Sokovia.
Of all the places to fight, a freaking airport, really? That's what they emptied an airport.
Yeah. Well, they emptied the terminal?
Well, not the terminal. This is the thing.
They're outside the airport.
This is the thing. Is they got a notice that a Quinjet was flying in there, and so everyone's like, "Oh, fuck this shit! I'm leaving." Right? Like, it's not an evacuation. It's like, yeah, we have a Quinjet land. Everyone's like, "Oh no, I'll fly out tomorrow."
But it wasn't just that. I mean, that place was empty.
Yeah.
I mean,
but like I said,
when they're running through when Falcon and Winter Soldier are running through the
there's
terminal,
nobody there.
There's nobody there.
Well, the thing is the Quinjet is also parked in a hangar that's off the main thing. Like, there's in airports, it's normally the last one. Is normally there's not too many people going in there. That's where they dock planes.
I mean, I understand. I understand. They got to fight somewhere, but an airport. Yeah, it just doesn't.
I just wanted more ambience, like put some suitcases around, or those little things that drive the suitcases. Just more ambience.
You got a gas truck. You got to
give Clint something to drive with his feet while he's shooting arrows.
I said this when the trailer first came out. I'm like, oh, good, they're fighting in an empty parking lot, right? Like. Long time.
Next time it'll be Costco.
I know. The reason why we shot in an airport.
With no products on the show.
Exactly. The reason why we shot in an airport was because we needed to see the size of Giant Man. Perspective wise. Yeah. Because when he rips off that wing of that plane, you're just like, that's Giant Man.
But to me, it would have made. I mean, okay, they were in Germany already. Yes, I understand that, but. To me, it would have made more sense that they were fighting on the Avengers compound, or something like that, or on the raft, or something like that.
Or just have people running away in the background. That's all I need.
Longtime Geekbox listener and contributor on the forum, the Giant Asian Man, says, thoughts on Vision's characterization and the direction they could take with him going forward, whether Scarlet Witch related or not.
Okay, again, first he needs target practice.
I love Vision. I mean, fuck. I love him in the last one. I loved him in this one. He's great. He's kind of sidelined in this, but I mean, there's so many characters. You can't. Okay,
now I like Tony's thing. How did this happen?
Yeah.
What? I was distracted.
Yeah.
You can get distracted.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I mean, Vision's fantastic.
Okay, now because I think you would honestly like to see Tom King's Vision with this actor.
Well, that'd be a very different movie. That'd be a horror movie.
But you would like it.
Sure. I mean, I don't see how Vision and Scarlet Witch come back from this either. It's like, oh, no, we're not getting together and having little demon babies anytime soon. Jim knows what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Is that West Coast Avengers?
Yeah. From Richard, says, what's y'all favorite character?
Agatha Harkness. Oh, sorry.
Ant-Man.
I mean, Ant-Man, no question. Ant-Man, Giant Man, it's the greatest. It was the best part of the movie.
Oh, it's a toss-up between Black Panther and Giant Man. But, I mean, Paul Rudd he literally steals the show when he shows. I mean,
it is so good.
I was like, all right, Arrow guy. All right, shoot me. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
So
going inside Iron Man's armor.
Yeah.
And doing it. You're going to have to do some maintenance on this.
Yeah.
We got the problem.
This is your conscience. I don't talk very much. Oh, it's so good. Okay, how many of you are just gonna, when we get the Blu-ray, you're just gonna go to that scene and just rewatch it like
I need the animated GIFs to start coming out of a Giant Man scene. It's so good. Lane?
Yeah, no, easily.
Okay.
Giant Man.
Okay.
I mean, my second would be Falcon, but that's just...
Falcon's always,
Falcon.
he's always been good.
Did everyone like Red Wing?
Everything was cool.
Everything was cool. Yeah.
It's good interpretation.
I like the banter between Falcon and Winter Soldier. After they started, he's like, "I hate you."
Well, good thing we got a question from Trevor. Says, when did we get the buddy cop movie with Bucky and Falcon?
There you go.
That was really funny.
Well, the thing is,
can you move over your seat?
The thing is, we'll get that after the death of Captain America.
Yeah. That was good.
And they're all smiling when Cap kisses Sharon.
Yeah, that was
great.
Yes.
Can you scoot your seat forward? No.
All right, dad tax on Twitter. Got to pay that dad tax. These guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Were you disappointed by Crossbones? Given the Winter Soldier's cliffhanger, I expected his return to be more integral. Yeah, I kind of did too.
Crossbones isn't quite a punk that he made him out to be. So
he goes
it
down
felt like
pretty quick.
they just kind of threw him away. Like it was, you ruined my face.
I had to
And
tell
it's like,
Leanne because they do not explain this at all in the movie.
No.
During the fight, I'm like, remember the guy he fought in the elevator in
Yeah.
Winter Soldier? This is him. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah.
the guy
you see at the end of Winter
building up.
Soldier, you see him got the burned.
Yeah.
But it's like I think most people in the movie do not.
He's
make
a
that
throwaway like Batroc. I mean, really is.
Which he
I mean,
shouldn't
so-
be. Crossbones is badass.
Crossbones is a badass in the comic book.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to have a throwaway character,
Yeah.
and they turned him into it. So,
But they should have left him alive, I think. So I wanted him to recur.
Well, maybe
more.
he got
Yeah.
burned more.
Maybe.
Maybe he's a little more crisp. Maybe he's looking a little more Red Skullish right now.
I got a bunch of comments here from our good friend Cisco. Let's run through these real quick. He says, great movie, but too much of a happy ending. Rhodey's paralyzed, but he's already making progress in the next scene. Yeah, it's kind of like
Did you watch this season of Arrow?
it's like down, but then it's not really that bad. I mean, again, it's brutal in the course of the movie, but by the end, everyone's fine. So we'll see. He says, I typically hate Spider-Man. Well, that's harsh. But I'm definitely seeing that movie and Black Panther. A couple too many characters, though. Some oddities in the movie. Why does Captain America carjack someone if he just saw himself and Black Panther outrun cars left and right? That's a good question. When he carjacked that guy, I was kind of like...
Yeah.
wait, that was a federal car that he carjacked.
True.
Actually,
Yeah.
It's faster than...
Yeah, but
60 miles an hour.
no.
We're going to run a little experiment
He's
here.
tired.
Can you go and just run?
If I had
Like,
Super Soldier
can
Serum,
you
maybe.
run to the store for me and then run back?
If I had the Super Soldier Serum, maybe I could.
But you would still get tired.
Cap doesn't get tired.
Actually, that does not hold water because Cap does not get tired.
Did you
really?
see
Really?
Cap hold back? They were like, okay, we need to get women in the movie to watch this movie, so could we just have him flex for 30 seconds straight and just
Leanne speaks up. Yeah,
Leanne remembers that scene. It was just
Did you see the pose? He was just like this.
every guy in the movie theater was just looking at their arm like, oh man.
I'm just surprised we didn't have any
you,
shirtless
Chris
guys this time.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was expecting his shirt to just rip off while he was doing that. Yeah. Scarlet Witch bails out 2 or 3 teammates in a row. Did Stark not have anyone covering her? Do your job, Vision.
Hey, he was distracted.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of mentioned that earlier.
I did like Paul Rudd's thing. Something just floated through me.
So good. He says,
I really
need
just want to go to the theater and say, "Can I just walk? I'll pay you $12 just to walk in to watch this part."
He says, he says, I need to have. He says, I wish I had Peter say Aunt May, having her just call her by her first name. It's a little off-putting. He's more respectful. I mean, sure, I agree. You can't fight him toe-to-toe. Meanwhile, I've been watching Iron Man do that for 15 minutes. Yeah, I kind of see that.
For what?
With what's his face?
Cap?
With Cap, yeah. Cap, but he says that to
Friday. He goes Friday. Yeah, Friday says something. He says something to his AI saying we can't fight him.
toe-to-toe.
And then they start analyzing his fighting patterns.
Oh, with Cap, yeah.
He starts beating his ass.
Yeah, meanwhile, he's been doing it for a while. Although, let's just go finishes up and says, I enjoyed this actually more than any of the other Marvel movies, except maybe Iron Man. Typically, I'm not a big fan of the Marvel movies, but he will go back on Sunday to see it again. So, Hope you like it.
See you there.
From our good friend,
This is a movie I'm going to see at least 2 or 3 more times. So
Yeah, I'm going to try and see it again.
from our good friend Andrew Cuscieri, he asks, "Was Batman vs Superman more amazing?" And let's just get this out of the way. This is our last question.
No.
of the night.
Leanne, Batman vs Superman more amazing than Civil War. She gives it 2 thumbs down with multiple pumps towards down.
There's a lot of good stuff in this movie. There's a lot of good stuff in Batman vs Superman. I like them both for different reasons. They both have flaws.
Here comes his dual scale.
Neither of them are flawless movies. Neither of them are terrible. I think. I don't
say it. Just say it.
I don't believe that the reviewers are paid by Disney to review these movies, Civil War,
can't say
higher
it. He
than Batman
can't
vs
say it.
Superman. But I think they are closer. I think they are closer movies.
Which one do you think is going to earn more money?
Oh, this by far. Of course it will, because it's a Marvel movie.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, it's not going to do Avengers numbers. I don't think it's going to quite hit that. I actually do want to talk real briefly about that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, everybody that I talked to at work today, there was excitement there for people to go to see this movie.
Of course. Opening weekend, $291 international. It's rumored to be at 190 to 200 million domestic, which puts it definitely above Batman vs Superman. This is gonna hit. Batman vs Superman tapped out at
Before
about.
it even opened last night, it was 260 million.
It's 291 international. It did 25 million on Thursday.
Okay. All right.
And it's expected to do
Tonight
200.
is doing a lot, or
Yeah.
today and tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, by the time this podcast goes up, you'll have numbers. We're recording on Friday, but the belief is about 200 million. So we're already at 5. This is going to break $1 billion, probably 1.1, 1.2. My estimate for Batman vs Superman was 800. It did 870. So
And still going.
it's done.
It's pretty much done. Yeah.
I mean, they may get a little bump to 875 or something, but it's pretty much done. 1.1, 1.2 is kind of where I'm going to put this. I don't think it's going to have quite the staying power that Avengers does, but the positive reviews. And I mean, Age of Ultron had much worse reviews than this. This has fantastic reviews, so it could. I mean, we could see 1.4, 1.5 billion. I just. We'll see. I mean, international is where it is.
I think Ant-Man will drive the numbers up a little.
Well, I hope.
No,
it's
Spider-Man.
That
Yeah.
too.
The
yeah.
Spider-Man's going to appeal to the kids. Ant-Man's going to appeal to the comic book readers.
China's the
time.
big question, because China right now has a ton of really big Chinese movies, and the American movies have been kind of not doing the best in some parts. I mean, this isn't just like Batman vs Superman. I mean, a lot of movies are, but I don't think it opens in China for a few weeks
Everybody
or
loves
next
Spider-Man.
week. It's so.
Singapore
I mean,
has it.
huh?
Singapore already got it.
Yeah, a lot of places had it. I mean,
Taiwan
it did,
already got it too.
It did
Yeah.
33 million opening weekend in London, so in the UK. So yeah, I mean,
my
obviously,
buddy was texting me while I was watching it last night in Virginia. He was texting me from Taiwan, showing me his thing of popcorn, saying, "Yeah, I'm going to go see it too."
Yeah.
So
Oh, one last comment from Cisco right under the wire. He says, "Shout out to my man Bucky. Quote unquote, I'm not going to kill anyone." Immediately picks up a cement block and hits a guy in the face. So yeah. The Avengers murder fools in this movie left and right.
Yeah.
Deal with it, people. Deal with it. So all right, that's
Cap tries to stop him, and he starts throwing people over the edge.
Yeah.
Like, really?
That stairwell scene was pretty fun, though.
that's a good scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone likes fighting in stairwells these days. All right, so that was Civil War. Suicide Squad should be our next big movie coming up in a few months here. So
No.
No,
X-Men. Apocalypse.
Suicide Squad is going to be our next big movie coming up here in a few months.
Well, it's Star.
Come on, Wolverine's going to show up in Apocalypse.
Don't we have
Come
Star
on.
Trek Beyond coming out too?
That's not a
soon?
comic movie. No, I'm actually looking forward to Apocalypse. I didn't like Days of Future Past as much as I think a lot of people did, but we'll definitely cover it. It won't be a whole episode, but we'll definitely cover it after it comes out. So
It'll be a whole episode.
Well, he's missing it.
if Bryce is on, it'll be a whole episode. Got a few weeks.
I heard Sugarman makes an appearance.
Jesus Christ. You got a couple weeks. Bryce and Toby and Charlie will hear all their takes on Captain America Civil War, and we may have slightly different opinions if we've seen the movie a second or third time.
You
So
think?
if you guys liked it or didn't like us, send us your comments and we will talk about it. Oh, first, man, I got to thank some Patreon people before we close out of here. Don't have my normal laptop up and do something a little different.
We have a dual setup at the shop.
Eh.
We only have the single setup.
This
here.
phone is probably more powerful than the laptop we're recording on.
The laptop.
It's the only laptop that will accurately record. I don't know why. It's the strangest thing, but maybe we need a new board. Maybe it's
record off his phone. Then.
It's the old ass board. Maybe that's what we need. I don't know.
I mean,
anyway,
I could swap out the boards.
No, it's fine.
Well, maybe this laptop and the
Patreon.
board have had a long relationship.
They
and
have.
Maybe they just don't want to be separated.
they have. It's like Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote. He just doesn't like
Back
being
to
alone.
back to Patreon.
Patreon. Albert Soy, his app plant everywhere on iTunes. Albert are picking you up some Disneyland Paris pins when we get there, so don't worry. Jody Lawson, he's got Canon, the Triad Comics Anthology at triadcomicstudio.com. Make sure you go on there, buy some comics from those guys. John Nesmith, Drinking with Batman.libsyn.com. I wonder what Batman thinks about Captain America Civil War. I bet he'd be a fan.
Of Ant-Man.
Everyone's a fan of Ant-Man. Peter X Blanco, he's got Nerded Up on YouTube. That's youtube.com/nerdituptv. Make sure you check out that channel. Julian Titus, he's got his pants. He's got his pants off.
No pants.
Because he's got his Nerds Without Pants
Screwed that
podcast.
up. Okay.
And Julian, I think we're going to try to have on in June once I get back. So, Joshua Redding, Tangent Break, that's on iTunes. That's also a podcast. Check that out, as well as Twilight of Ages and Dawn of Darkness on Amazon.
Those are books.
Those are novels without pictures.
So you don't read them.
I have no idea what they are. If you did a comic adaptation, I'd read those. So, Mario Miranda and the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network, mildfuzz.org, and on YouTube as Mild Fuzz. Check those out if you want to listen to more podcasts and YouTube videos. Manoa Place, Sam Shea, Robert Danum, and Scott Dryman. Those are our other backers. They got nothing to plug, but they like giving us money. So we like it when they give us money.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Everyone should give us money. And if you want to give us money, patreon.com/comic conspiracy is where you can go to do that. All our previous episodes at geekbox.net and iTunes and comicconspiracypodcast.com. Go on there. You can find all our previous episodes. We have a Q&A episode next week. Ryan Scott from the Geek Box, you probably know, will be hosting a Ryan Higgins is out of town Rebirth #1 spectacular prior to our midnight sale podcast.
I just wish
on
our
the 24th.
listeners could see you trying to get this out because you're just so.
I'm gonna miss it.
It's like you're so conflicted.
Yes,
So just
absolutely.
So we have like 3 episodes of Game of Thrones. We have the finales for Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. We have the Overwatch launch. We have like other stuff. And I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks. And Rebirth. Like, everything happens when I'm gone.
This was the best thing. You tweeted this a couple days ago that you're going to miss all this. And I'm like, oh, look, all stuff I'm going to be participating in.
Here, I got something in my pocket for you. Right there.
But it's okay because Ryan Scott won't post it until he comes back.
I don't know how this machine works. I didn't know.
Oh, that's what this does.
Hey, show them you collect the whole set.
Yeah. Forums at geekbox.net and the Geekbox and Comic Conspiracy Facebook group. That's where you can go talk to all our wonderful listeners. Let them know what you think of Batman. Total accident. Please don't let them know what you think of Batman v Superman. I'm so sick of it. Let us know what you think of Civil War. Myself and Bryce put our Marvel Cinematic Universe list up, which caused lots of controversy. So
does that
check
mean
those
I
out.
have to do it too?
If you want to, sure.
We can all do it.
Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz.
I'll do mine tonight.
Make sure you go on there and check out all the great digital sales. Big Civil War sale going on right now.
They had
so.
couple big sales
Yeah.
for May the 4th. They had
Yeah,
a
a lot
bunch
of
of
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars. I grabbed a couple of things because they were cheap.
Always check that out. ConspiratorBrock.com, that's Brock's video pull list and blog. Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension, that's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. Hopefully he'll be back. Well, he will be back on the next episode. Etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hillart. My lovely wife, Leanne, back of the room there, giving us notes, talking in our ears when we have stuff to correct us and tell us
Radar technician Matt.
how bad Batman v Superman is. It's good. Don't buy anything for her for the next 3 weeks because she won't be able to fulfill your
No, but you can
your
still
purchases.
go look at it.
Still order it.
But you can, just don't expect it soon. Ryan Higgins, Ryan, Brock Sager, Larson Bryce, Toby XI, Insanity and Chaos. You're not on Twitter. Those are all our Twitter handles. You're not on Twitter.
Well, actually,
right?
I do have a Twitter, but I don't use it.
Oh, okay. LD Exterminator. That's Jim. We're all on Twitter. At us, please. And Comics Con store. That's the store. Geekbox Comedy Button, Good Job Brain, All Talk Podcast, Manga Machinations. Those are all the podcasts on our little network. Check them out at geekbox.net or on iTunes. All right, that's it.
What about tomorrow?
Tomorrow? Oh, wait, what?
No. We
This
have to
past
go.
week,
Did you enjoy Free Comic Book Day on Saturday?
this past weekend was Free Comic Book Day. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a fill in the blank time, so We will see you all next week.